What's up, guys? This is our second meeting. My name is Johnny. I'm the Vice President of Market Research and Analytics.
Yeah, if you guys weren't here, welcome to TPM. We founded last year. Hopefully you guys are in the right place. My name's Sanj. I'm President, and I'm a Senior studying Finance.
I'm Max. I helped Sanj co-found this last year, and let's get started.
So we're gonna start off with this icebreaker. Raise your hand if you play with talking points like the Jackbox game. Okay, one person. That's good. Okay. Let me explain the rules. So we're gonna split you guys up into groups, and we're gonna give you an assigned topic based on something related to the markets, like tariffs, crypto, or like job market or something. And you guys will have a couple minutes to research about that topic, and then each group will have to present on the topic with random slides that we prepared beforehand, and you guys are gonna have to improv on it. So on the text slides, just read out what it says, and if something you didn't research comes up, like that's okay, just make it up on the spot. And yeah, we're gonna have some fun.
Fair warning, some of the slides, Johnny made all of them. Some of them are really, really stupid, and that's okay. Make up something. We're trying to make this fun while also informative, so don't worry about it.
Yeah, no pressure, like this isn't for a grade or anything.
Okay, how many
we won't judge you.
6.
And each slide will be up for 30 seconds, and a different person has to present for each slide.
We have 17. Do we want to do?
So,
4 groups.
So, like, four people each.
Yeah, 4 groups of 4, 1 group of 5.
Yeah, 1 group of 5.
All right. How do we want to do the groups?
I mean, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We got 5 right here. So.
Okay, yeah.
Oh,
You
yeah,
guys can do the group of
that's
5. Do you want to move somewhere over here? And then just make a group of 4 somewhere. All right. Do you want to come up here, join them, group of 4, and then you can do you 3, and then.
And this is mostly about stuff that happened within the past 4 to 6 months.
So how are we doing?
So we just
Walk around and okay, you want to do this? I set up the time.
So like what do you think? So you 4 group and then 4 Wait,
We can put Masisa.
oh, Missy's Okay, yeah. You guys have 4. You guys will be tariffs. So research what happened with tariffs in the past like 3 months. You guys will be AI. Okay. So what happened with AI companies? You guys will be. Next one is the jobs market and the economy. So research.
Goose can take my spot, bro.
And then the last topic for you guys is crypto. So research what's happened in crypto in the past like 6 months.
All right, we got a 5-minute timer. Research as much as you can. Research the stupidest stuff you can. Try to make it
It'll be mostly about
You need to buy a little like
yeah. Interesting, like all points stuff like that. What up, Goose? Good to see you. How you feeling? Getting better in a minute.
Say hi to the camera, bro.
Oh shit.
Oh, wait 1 sec. Stand here for the minute.
Okay, yeah. I'll let that run. No, you're right.
I think there's some stuff on like DeepSeek, ChatGPT, probably.
They gave us the most asshole, bro.
Everyone wants to know how to invest, essentially.
At least you do it better. AI is over.
I always got my 150
It's like
and
finding
that
like
got
an
only down to $10.
Because you polled?
I pulled and I bought if I could, and they pulled me.
Okay. What they got?
Trump tariffs.
Target project. What about project? AI was also videos there. Relationship with China. So it's about them like trade restrictions on his videos.
Yeah.
I used to do that with Robert for if I want to meet
Conflicts with like China.
Klarna IPO. Klarna IPO.
Yeah. I have something about refinancing. That's
That shit's a
economic
scam.
stuff.
For all of that stuff, this camera.
I think it's an idea that that's
Work together with your team.
You guys wanna make a team?
Discuss a little bit if you want.
We're doing job market, by the way.
What? Yeah.
For job market.
It's okay if you don't know what like showing up on the slide.
We're gonna get fired.
We are gonna get
I mean, it was like bad.
Shut up.
Now it's like it's a little better, but it's still bad.
Yeah.
That's all I'm getting. It's like
Our biggest statistics is gonna be
God, I love him.
grad students versus like unemployed.
And just have fun with it, yeah.
Comparison
Don't take it too
of-
seriously. Don't take
Those
definitely
are
don't
relative,
take it
like
too
the
seriously.
fine lines really.
comp sci students, unemployed people, just a circle.
Let him go, dude.
With the economy, it's about like Trump having arguments with Jerome Powell and also Lisa Cook recently, and him trying to fire them.
Jeremy, do some research, bro. Get him to do some
Yeah.
What you know about Bitmine?
Bitmine. I know nothing. Is that like the company? Or?
It's a holding company that owns 2% of all Ethereum. So it's if you,
That's like MicroStrategy, right? Damn.
so they own, their goal is to get 5% of it. So they bought back when Ethereum dipped again today. They own $8 billion of it. So you can their
Join a group. So next to some people.
their percentage in it is insane.
Join a group somewhere.
But if you invest
have a
in them,
topic
it's
or an
safer
icebreaker,
than
just ask
investing
them
in
when they're here.
Ethereum.
Directly? Oh.
Yeah.
That's weird. That's
It
weird.
literally just tracks.
I did not know. That's cool. I should have put that in the slide. It was like a lot.
What's your name?
Join this one down here.
I'll
They only
show-
have four.
It's just a book thing. Would you mind if it's?
He totally was.
Switch out the chair.
Yeah, they're crypto. It's tariffs and
What is
economy.
Are they new?
You guys are crypto.
Job market.
So we have some pre-made slides. We're gonna have them on the screen. You guys can talk about it for like 20 seconds.
Okay.
So you're
It's
gonna
the same project. Just try to make anything make sense.
Okay.
Did you put
What was that? I did put that.
Really? Okay, I need that.
It's one of the last slides.
Alright.
I think that's
Everyone ready?
I'm ready.
We're gonna start. Tariffs.
Tariffs group, come on up.
Alright, you guys wanna come on up? Come on.
Yeah, you guys gotta stand up.
It's fine. It's okay. It's really casual.
If you don't know something, just like make something up. And like, you got something Yeah, make it up as you go.
You guys are lucky you guys don't go first. I feel bad now.
Alright.
Oh,
He's never gonna look
Quick group, next.
Let him start first. Introduce your names and stuff, and on any text slide, just like read out what the text says.
Introduce yourself first.
I'm Sumi.
I'm Andres. Luca. Sasha. Alright, so someone just read off that.
Well, started when a certain die.
Yo.
I see you, John.
Now explain this for like 20 seconds. Okay, who wants to do? I gotta analyze this picture.
So there is Trump there, and he's stating about the tariff that he wants to charge about it. So there's China and European Union, Vietnam, Taiwan, Japan, like India, South Korea. There's so many countries, and I searched about the research, and they're like the volume was about like there was like 34 and like cause I'm Korean, I know the South Korea has charged 15% and also the Japan.
Cool, let's go. Alright, fine, we just take this.
And he wasn't looking too hard.
So that's our vice president on the left.
Who's on the right?
Just say something about it.
Johnny, who's on the right?
The right, well, I don't know who, but I suppose it's like a leader, some he's complaining about the situation. And the other guy, I don't know.
Alright.
Yo, this slide's kind of. Thoughts, guys?
Like, what was Trump's impact?
Oh, this is the way, basically, like the tariffs, maybe they might affect also a lot the US, I think.
Yeah.
So that's why it's going down also.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, those are.
So you see the stocks decrease, the US dollar decrease, and the bond decrease, following the tariffs. The key is just like talk, just ramble, say whatever comes to your mind. It can be bullshit, yeah.
And what ended up happening, we're a ton off. Is this a slide that I have to talk about? So, for 90 days, the US was running out of time to save the country, I guess.
Yeah, that's what I would say too.
And Trump ended up getting a reputation as a Mexican. Mexican chicken.
Chicken jockey.
Okay,
Tactical.
chicken jockey.
I think that's it, right? Oh no, one more.
How many slides are
This is fun.
Oh, there's 50 slides.
Say something.
Okay, next thing. Another.
That's good.
Good job, good job. So it's gonna be a little weird, like the pictures might not make any sense, just try to talk about whatever you think comes to mind.
Yeah, just say whatever comes to mind, just like, fill the space.
This looks good fun.
Alright.
We could just like zigzag this way, who's doing the slide, right? AI, let's start from the beginning. Weekend AI. There's a $500 billion Stargate project announced by Trump and OpenAI and SoftBank and Oracle. This will help our economy because AI is good.
So like AI is kind of what it's doing is it's like taking over kind of creative jobs. It's kind of filling in like, as you can see, Mark Zuckerberg, he's pretty suspicious in this photo right here. But anyways, he's kind of like, he's getting some of that money, he's taking those opportunities away from individuals. Yeah. Of course. And this is crazy. It's making us like, it's bad for, I don't even know what to say. What is this? I don't know about this one, but.
And this made us shit our pants.
So for DeepSeek, I found that they're causing issues with Google because they're creating the same AI models for a cheaper price to run them. So it's a little bit of butting heads with a lot of our main platforms.
So, for Johnny, you made these animations.
So they can't be sold.
So these are NVIDIA chips, and they're not going to China.
Okay. Don't forget about.
Oh yeah.
Don't forget OpenAI and if they're gonna go public.
Yeah.
Alright. Fed Reserve.
This whole,
Yeah, it's an investigation.
you know,
Oh,
do you guys want us to come up and help you, or?
You guys can decide.
Okay. I'll do my best with the yes last week.
That's pretty interesting.
No, this is the next time.
Yeah.
Is there
Alright. Fed Reserve.
Yeah, it was really good.
Alright, so we got jobs and the Federal Reserve. This one kind of went under the radar. Okay, so as you can see based on the statistics and data of this chart, that there's a great pay increase between job switchers as well as job stayers. So essentially, if you're a job switcher and you got opportunities to pick up another job which had a higher pay, higher increase, now that statistic is actually making it so the people that stayed in their current positions are almost making the same amount as the people that are actually switching jobs and wanting to create better opportunities for themselves. Switch.
Nice.
So, speaking about unemployment, current situation of unemployment now, may seem low. Believe it or not, new grads, your guys' friends who have graduated in recent years, struggling to find some jobs. Come under some scrutiny recently in terms of who we trust for our data. It's been a topic that's been widely talked about, especially with the firing of the head of the Bureau of Labor Statistics. And that kind of puts graphs like this into question, but yeah, new grads are struggling to find jobs. Not good.
Expand your network, guys.
Moving on to the federal network, the federal job market. There's a good chance if you were working in a federal job, you probably lost it. And that doesn't really matter based on what role you had. And pretty much just if, Trump comes into your office, just look at your computer and hope for the best. And now,
This, if I'm not mistaken, this case is going to the Supreme Court, right? She's suing.
Yeah. Was it like a mayor or something?
No, she's on the treasury.
Oh my God, there's a lot of people suing.
Well, then he also recently mentioned the tariff thing too. A federal court just said Trump's tariffs were unconstitutional.
Yeah.
So that was
I think he was doing something in LA, like I think he set up like a military base in LA, and now they're taking that to the Supreme Court.
That's
No, it already went to the
Oh,
Supreme
yeah.
Court.
That's-
They already
that's-
ruled
I think
on
that's
some
what
law.
That's over another three things.
A lot of stuff in the headlines.
Yep.
Doing some actual.
Are you trying to make us hungry?
Like what?
What is?
Hey Johnny, you want to explain?
The housing market's in churn, we're all living in a cardboard box.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, some of these I was like a little lost on, like when you said doctor or lawyer or like nurse.
You think doctors will be replaced by AI?
No.
Okay, so that's what it's saying.
Oh, dude, I misread it. My fault.
We have a robot police officer. People just follow you.
It's a good time to be an artist. Yeah, not digital art.
Millions of dollars, and it doesn't do anything.
Awesome.
No one likes me.
Crypto. This one probably had the easiest topic in my opinion.
Easy is. That's actually true. All I did was Google Optimum.
Alright. Someone in.
Crypto, some cool things happen.
So pretty much, Bitcoin costs a lot of money to own, $100,000, and it is going up.
That's true.
That's right.
I heard you guys like ETFs.
So,
No, you go. I'm not.
so Ethereum was out last year in July, and now Ethereum was actually blowing up like last month, and it's still pretty much up, close to all-time highs.
I'm not a genius, and I know you guys aren't geniuses, but
Here's the Genius Act by some, looks like college graduate.
I regret not buying this every day. The hot coin coin, guys. So it was known as what's known as a pump and dump. So basically, she made everyone buy this dumbass coin, and then sold all of her coin before everyone else could. So she basically scammed motherfuckers out of money, and now there's a lawsuit. But the coin never reached above like 0.05%. It's a shit ass coin. Don't buy this. I have one question left for you all. Sorry, you guys can't read today.
That's fine.
So,
Can it
Bitcoin solve all of our problems?
the facts?
yes.
Bitcoin is gonna make us way better, you know, the volatility we really like. That way, you know, the Federal Reserve one day could be worth, you know, 50 trillion, and then the next day it's gonna be worth $5. You know, it's gonna be a big pump and dump by the U.S. government.
Awesome. Thank you.
Good job, everybody.
Alright.
That was great.
We'll get into some actual stuff now. Johnny, thank you for making those slides. Thanks for everyone for participating. That might seem like a really stupid activity, but actually, like, when you go into jobs or even case competitions or even in classes, like, you'll have a lot of stuff where you're just thrown into it. Someone higher than you will be asking you questions, you have no idea what's going on, and you just gotta like answer something. So like looking at these context clues, randomly what's on the slide, randomly something you see, like this is a good skill to have, and it's something good to practice. But for now, I want to talk about what's going on in the in the last 6 months and why you should care. Before I do that, can everyone like shut down their laptops? I want to have this as interactive as possible, so I'm going to ask some questions, try to get you guys involved, just to make the most out of your time. For starters, like, why do we even care about what happened in the last 6 months, right? Like, why do I care about the job market or inflation or unemployment? Why do I even care about any of that stuff? Why don't I just listen to Warren Buffett and buy index funds? If the greatest investor of all time says buy index funds, that's what I'm going to do, right? Well, there's a lot more to it. I like to think of the analogy, if you ChatGPT your homework, it doesn't guarantee an A on the test. It's like index funds. Index funds are great, they'll get you that A on the homework, but then in life, in trying to find a job, in your bank account, it doesn't necessarily mean you're gonna get an A on that. For example, anyone studying CS, computer science? Okay, maybe 1 or 2 people, or engineering. The CS job market, people say it's cooked. There was a stat here saying new grads have a really tough time trying to find a job, CS especially. It's really hard. If you know stocks, if you know what's going on in the economy, maybe you see AI as booming. Okay, great, AI is super good. Maybe I'll start to shift my perspectives into that. Or with some other jobs, you see, I don't know, what's the law? The lawyers, what's Rachel Zane and paralegal. Paralegals' jobs are going like this. What? Yeah, suits reference. Paralegals, I think it's like the #1 job being replaced by AI right now. So you probably don't want to go into a field thinking, oh, I want to be a paralegal. You might not know that unless you keep up to date to what's going on in the economy. Your bank account. A lot of you probably store your money in checkings account, whereas you could be getting a better return in either high yield savings, maybe money market funds, the stock market. You don't even know how much the interest rate is unless you keep up to date with all of this stuff. So there's a significant impact on what's going on in the economy that actually affects this. Even mortgages and loans. All of this stuff has a huge impact. Should I even buy a house right now? Why is the housing market doing so bad? Right now, I think the housing market is comparable to 2008. So I found that out the other day in one of my classes. I didn't even know it was doing that bad. A lot of this stuff is super interesting because it actually affects your day-to-day life, and it's not as simple as just buying index funds. So what's our recommendation? Buy index funds and read Johnny's blog. We have a blog going every week that's just going to summarize what's going on in the market. I mean, that's a perfect way to just figure out what's going on in the economy, get that quick source of information, and also just keep up to date, right? A lot of you might have heard Liberation Day, Trump tariffs, all this stuff in the news. We don't really know what is actually going on. So I want to start by asking, does anyone know what a tariff is?
It's a good.
Tax on imported goods.
Okay, do you know, can you explain that a little more?
Like, so when we take products that are produced in, for example, like China for cheaper prices, where they can mass produce something for cheaper labor and cost per item, it gets shipped in, and basically we tax that country for shipping whatever, a portion of what their goods for.
Yeah, great answer, but slightly wrong. The people paying the tax is not China. The people paying the tax is that US-based company. So if I'm, for example, Walmart, and I get my goods from China, Walmart is the one paying the tax for getting those goods. So you might be thinking, why would anyone enforce a tariff where their own country or their own consumers are paying that tax, right? Why wouldn't we just tax China, like you said? It actually promotes domestic production. So now that Walmart can't get some of its resources outsourced, Walmart is forced to produce that internally in the US. So now we're creating more jobs. This is the whole concept behind a tariff. We're taxing those imported goods where the importers are paying the tax, not the exporters. So why do you guys think Trump imposed the tariffs? I know the 3 bullets are here, but what do you think was the thought process behind that?
To domesticate more, like, imports, like instead of utilizing like China, for example, he wants the market within the US to increase so people get more goods from our own country, not others.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah, like you said already, America's like losing jobs to other countries. We're in a big deficit to other countries.
Yep.
And also like, we just want to create more jobs for obviously American people.
Yeah, over here.
Also, a lot of countries have like tariffs already on the United States,
Yep.
and Trump wants to kind of equal it out.
For sure, yeah. I mean, a lot of the countries that have a much significant higher tariff rate or had than the US was charging them. I would say there's 3 main reasons. Number 1, America first. I think that's the whole MAGA concept, make America great again. They want to put America first with everything. So they say, for example, the US has been facing a lot of deindustrialization. In the last 40, 50 years, the US industrialization has been decreasing, whereas China is skyrocketing. China is the global leader in industrialization. They wanted to make the US a powerhouse. If China invades Taiwan, there's a lot of stuff going on in the news. Does the US industrial power even have enough support to support Taiwan? They want to bring a lot more jobs, a lot more resources, all of this back to the US because America first. I quoted Trump here saying other countries are taking our jobs and our wealth. It was kind of an interesting quote because he's saying this about our allies too. Not just China, not just companies or countries that we hate, but also countries that we're allied with. So he really, really wanted to bring all of those jobs, all of those tariffs, everything back to the US and strengthen the US. So that's why he was even taxing, tariffing other countries a huge amount. The question is, why are economists against them? Anyone have any ideas? Why did this receive so much backlash?
Because when you add a bunch of tariffs and make trade harder to do, then it means that it's harder to make large products in a country, like make more specialized products, because you can't get the lower goods to make those more specialized products. So a lot of your economy is going to go down in certain areas.
Yep.
Because you have to focus on making the lower level goods in your country instead of just those specialized goods.
Yeah, great point.
not enough people are actually, there's not enough people who are working in production jobs in the United States to make up that deficit.
Yep. Anyone else over here?
Tensions with other countries, for example, like you said,
Yeah.
especially countries that provide natural resources that we don't have. We can't necessarily produce a ton of like raw materials in our country, at least we are not actually doing that.
Yeah, and NVIDIA is a great example. I mean, they outsource like all of their chips from Taiwan semiconductor manufacturing. They get all their chips from there. So now when we're tariffing countries like that, it makes a big issue in the supply chain for these countries that rely on those resources from there.
No, when we do like tariffs, like they get like other countries could like put on like counter tariffs, and then
So
when
it's a
we are
trade
trying
war.
to get stuff, then it's more expensive, and that kind of has a problem with like negotiation and like trying to accommodate for like, hey, like we're gonna have tariffs on your products that are coming in.
Yep.
Like we're gonna do the same for you guys.
Yeah, so I was watching a YouTube video last night on this. It was literally like, why do economists hate the Trump tariff policies? And it gave an example of a washing machine. So a few years ago, Trump said that we're outsourcing too many washing machines, let's produce them in the United States, right? So now we started producing these washing machines in the US. What happened? Did the washing machines become cheaper? Did they stay the same? Did they become more expensive? Thoughts?
They became a lot more expensive because not only is the labor more expensive here, we have minimum wage across the board, whereas other countries can produce stuff for way cheaper.
Yeah, it's all a concept of supply and demand. Now the US producers understand that we're the only ones supplying them, demand is still the same, let's just raise the prices. So now the US producers are raising the prices, and who's suffering from the cost of that? Us, the consumers. Now this didn't only affect washing machines, it also affects the dryers and the pods and the whatever, paper, everything involved in that. So now consumers are paying a lot more because of these tariffs. And it's helping niche industries. Like some industries are being supported from these tariffs, but the consumers are the ones who are suffering from this. And then there's the concept of, sure, this is creating jobs. Now, since we're producing these washing machines in-house, we need more people, more labor to produce those washing machines. So now, you and me, those mechanical engineers that were struggling to find a job, now we have that job. But then if you look at the numbers, how many jobs are created versus how much consumers are paying, in the end, consumers are still paying more than the amount of GDP generated from the jobs being created. So economists hate this. They say tariffs are supposed to help the country, but instead it's hurting us, the people, who are behind the country. So why are we even doing this? And then it's the concept that tariffs are hard to get rid of. Anyone have any idea why a tariff might be hard to get rid of?
Like recently when the whole tariff thing happened in April, China and America were going back and forth on tariffs, and it's like really hard to bargain with other countries.
Yeah,
like,
so I mean tariffs are really a bargaining tactic. We say, oh, we'll reduce this tariff if you do something for us, or they'll do the same thing. And it also even starts a trade war, like you were mentioning. Like, we pose a tariff, and they say, okay, I don't like that, I'm going to do the same thing to you. Goes back and forth, tariffs get higher and higher, nobody wins. And then it's also the domestic producers. Now that we're making washing machines in-house, those companies producing those washing machines, they don't want to lose that. They want to keep what they're doing going. So now, if we get rid of the tariffs, we're disadvantaging them.
Yeah.
So it's going to hurt someone in the process. That's why their argument is that tariffs are just hurting the people. So what was the actual impact of this? Does anyone remember Liberation Day? Anyone who invests and saw their portfolio? It was down like 10, 11%. Horrible day. Yeah, horrible day.
Crypto is well like 40%
Everything.
as well.
And not just the US market, the entire global market was down a big amount. I think they said it's one of the top 7 or 8 worst days in stock market history. All because of the tariffs. This happened in April. But if you were in PPM last year, you probably would have heard me saying every market reaction is an overreaction. This also was an overreaction. A lot of it was due to speculation. We don't know what's going to happen. We're scared. We don't like uncertainty. No one likes uncertainty, right? So when we see this uncertainty, our immediate reaction is sell, 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 because we don't know what's going to come. But a lot of this was also due to that now companies had to pay more. right? Like with NVIDIA, for example. They had to shift their supply chain to different countries so they could avoid that heavy tariff. And then even the possible international trade war with China and Canada and Mexico. Now we got these reciprocal tariffs going back and forth. It's a huge mess. Long term though, if anyone's keeping track of the stock market, besides like the past 3-4 days, it's been booming. I mean, the S&P is at an all-time high. I think since April, it's up over 20%. So that's a pretty good number. Question is why? A lot here was due to speculation. Does anyone know what speculation is? Can someone give me like a quick one sentence?
Just like the companies were oversold because they were still like producing and like selling, but due to the tariffs, everybody was scared that they won't be able to sell that much, or
yeah, I would say speculation is more like inferring. You don't know what's happening. I wouldn't go so far to call it gambling. You don't know what's happening, but because of this, you think this is gonna happen. All right, like I'm playing a good player in a tennis match, so I think I'm gonna lose. it's like an inference. So without much accommodation for the fundamentals, they're saying, I don't know what's gonna happen, so I'm gonna sell. That's speculation. Long term, we still see the fundamentals are good, and that's what drives the long-term economy. Consumer demand stays high. With AI is booming. Every single person, every single company, every single country is looking for AI. You'll go on the most random websites like Nike or something, and there'll be an AI chatbot. I mean, AI is...
Isn't like AI spending crossed like consumer spending this quarter? It was some news.
What was it?
Like AI spending this quarter, like specifically crossed consumer spending.
Oh.
Yeah, like
I believe it. I mean, they're spending so much money into data centers right now. Every company is looking to invest in AI. It's booming. So consumer demand stays high. Companies are restructuring their supply chains. So now you might start to see all these made in China shift to made in India or made in another country. That's what's happening. They have to restructure their supply chain to work around these tariffs. So they're still making it work. Like NVIDIA was at like $180 a share. I mean, that's super high considering it dropped like 80 following the announcement. And then the Fed rate cuts. The Fed is doing everything it can to follow the dual mandate. And they're still signaling a strong economy, even through all this. So long term, even though it looked to be really scary in the short term, a lot of uncertainty, there's still a huge positive long-term impact.
Alright, now moving on to something that happened in this past summer since we left off are these Middle East tensions. So in June 2025, the US decided to airstrike 3 Iranian nuclear sites. And this is because like the US government and Trump specifically was really opposed to like Iran or any like countries in the Middle East having these nuclear plants and access to nuclear weapons. So when this happened, this is like a geopolitical event that affected markets greatly. So as we can see, some of the effects that this had, oil had a sharp increase in price, like US equities in the whole market pulled back, and safe haven assets rose. And this ties into that other point about tariffs, that when uncertainty rises, there's these safe haven assets like gold, bonds, and stuff that like you want to put your money into for long-term profits will rise like sharply in the short term. So as you can see, markets recovered after Iran struck back in the US base in Qatar, but this strike back was more symbolic and not really a declaration of war. But throughout this time, and this was like for a week or so in June, it was like really, we had a lot of fears that we were going to go to war with Iran. So it was a scary time, but know that when these things happen, when something creates uncertainty in the market, that's also an opportunity to make money, because you know that these are clear patterns, and like in Iran and in the Middle East, when there's an airstrike, oil has to rise because there's risk of supply chain fears. And when supply falls, if you know like your economics and your demand and supply curves, that when supply falls, price will rise. So that's what happened in this past summer.
Yeah, no, it's so interesting to see like all the stuff you hear about in the news. You don't think that it's affecting your life. Like you think, oh, war in Iran, this is happening. How's it gonna affect me? Like obviously we're not the ones suffering, thank God. But like, for example, like the Middle East is a huge supplier of oil. So now you see all these conflicts, and then you go outside and try to fill your tank, and it's more expensive. Like all of this stuff has an impact, and I just find that so interesting with stocks and the economy, and just reading what's going on.
Crypto, something that honestly everyone has probably heard of it, but do we really know what crypto is? Just a quick question. What immediately comes to your mind when I say crypto? Anybody?
Hog to a coin.
Exactly. Hop to a coin. Anybody else?
Digital currency.
Digital currency. One more.
XRP 2000.
Bitcoin. Yeah, I mean, I feel like you've seen all these names in the news. You know, crypto this, crypto that. Bitcoin's going up. Hop to a coin, Dogecoin, all these meme coins. But that's not where crypto actually lies as a fundamental principle. So I don't know if you guys have heard of stablecoin, but like its name suggests, instead of being up and down like these hop to a coin graphs, it's supposed to be really stable, right? It's not moving at all. It actually is supposed to track a currency. So for example, one stablecoin is USDC, so US dollar coin, and that tracks the US dollar. So one USDC should always equal one US dollar, and you'll always see the graphs in one line. It should never stray apart from each other. If it does, something's gone really wrong. And so with stablecoins, a lot has happened in the last 6 months. So in the previous slides, you guys saw the Genius Act, and essentially what it is the US government enacting a set of rules and protocol for creating stablecoins. Because the idea of stablecoins is that it tracks the dollar. So there's a lot of rules that has to go on behind the scenes to make sure that companies that issue stablecoins don't manipulate it and don't end up becoming hop to a coin, right? So that's really important. And another big event that happened was Circle Internet Company's IPO. So Circle is one of the primary issuers of US dollar coin. And being a primary issuer, they have a lot of control in the future and the expansion of stablecoin and crypto as a whole. They recently IPO'd for over $1 billion. Their stock price jumped right after evaluation, almost 3x in price, and it died down, but now it's sitting at maybe around $90. But it going public is a big signal that they're trying to expand their company, right? Instead of just having US dollar coin, why not have, okay, well, China bans all crypto, so not China, but maybe like Canada coin, right? Or maybe somewhere in Europe, Spain, France, all these countries should have their own stable coins to track their own currency. And this is actually really big news for anyone interested in crypto and anyone interested in finance in general. I'm sure you guys have all heard of JP Morgan, huge investment banking giant among other things, but they're a finance giant, right? And something that they've recently implemented is their own JP Morgan coin, which they don't issue it publicly, but they use it within their own systems, like privately, to try to build up their fundamentals. And they also recently have implemented, you guys probably know Chase Bank, but they have credit card rewards, and instead of rewarding you in cash or some other benefits, they're actually rewarding you in crypto. So with all these changes, there's a lot of movement in the crypto industry. If stablecoin were to spread all around the world, the only purpose of stablecoin is to help you convert from the US dollar to another cryptocurrency or even another currency. So right now, one of the biggest uses for crypto is foreign exchange, because it's really difficult to exchange from, say, US dollars to, say, Chinese yuan or Japanese yen, because there's so many laws and there's so much delay in banking and these legacy systems that people want a new, faster way. With the internet, there's no reason I should be waiting 3 days for my payment to process through a bunch of regulation, banks, and all these rules, right? Why shouldn't it be instant? Because we have the ability to do so, but now we need to change our structural systems. And just some big numbers just to impress you guys a little bit. Last year, there's over $27 trillion in stablecoin transactions. And there's an expected growth to over $500 billion in market value for stablecoins. And I'm telling you guys this not to just blindly invest your money in some crypto or just get started now, but I'm telling you this to be interested in crypto, because whether you agree with it or not, crypto is expanding. You have all these big companies, big finance giants, all these companies on Wall Street making their own crypto and trying to get involved, and it's taking, at first it was a small market share, but now it's slowly and slowly getting bigger and bigger, and it's going to impact your lives one way or another. In the near future, we'll see whether that's like 6 months or maybe a few years. It's often overshadowed by AI because AI is so much more explosive, but you should always have a fundamental understanding of everything that's going on in the market. And with crypto growing at the rate it is, it's definitely something to look forward to in the future. Did you have a question?
Yeah, I was gonna ask you, do you have any like site recommendations for buying crypto? Because I remember like seeing a couple, but I don't know, like because like I know there's some that are like specifically for just like buying crypto, and I was just wondering like what's your kind of input on like are there some good sites to go on?
So I mean, there's a couple popular ones that advertise a lot online. I know there's Kraken, Webull. There's some ones. Robinhood allows crypto exchange now, and honestly, it doesn't really matter where you exchange your crypto. But what I will say is, before you invest in crypto, you should be trying to do a little more research. You should try to be a little more knowledgeable on crypto. And one website I really recommend for that is it's called The Block. It's a news website. They're free. They give really good articles if you're trying to get to know crypto a little more and see what's going on in the news, because there's so much going on that it's hard to keep track. Yeah.
I've been reading like headlines. I haven't done much research. I was wondering if you guys do. But do you guys know how the current administration is using crypto to repay the debt, U.S. debt?
Yeah. So the idea. So that's what one of the previous slides was. So it's called the stable Bitcoin reserve, right? Stable Bitcoin reserve. So the U.S. government essentially bought a huge chunk of Bitcoin, and they're storing it as like an investment, right? So say the U.S. has like 20 trillion debt or something like that. So with all this debt, they can't just print more money to pay it off, because that's inflation, that's economics. But if they buy crypto, or specifically Bitcoin, they're hoping that if the price of Bitcoin goes up, so say they invested at like 100K or whatever they buy it at, and the price goes up in the future, then that's like essentially generating money. It's like an investment in the future. So they're hoping that the returns on crypto will be able to pay off some of their national debt. But yeah, anyways, stay up to date on crypto. If you're interested, you can talk to me after. I can recommend some more sites or research, but it's always good to stay knowledgeable on what's going on in the market.
Our next meeting will actually be just focused on crypto. So if that's something that interests you, like next meeting, that'll be the sole focus.
And so that all brings us to the present and the state of the AI bubble. So I talked about this in my article, but we'll go over some key takeaways from what I talked about. And so in the past, we've seen that from 2020 after the COVID crash, 2022, 2023, 2024 has all been fueled by this AI bubble. And in the past 6 months, it's just kept on going. So AI models are getting more intelligent. These companies are implementing AI in all aspects of their companies. And at the centerpiece of this AI bubble is NVIDIA. And the reason NVIDIA is the biggest company and the one that started this whole bubble in the first place is because they produce the chips and the hardware that power these AI processes. So in general, there's 3 types of AI companies. You have your hardware AI companies that run these things, like the data centers that train AI models, and the power solution companies and the electric companies that help the data centers to run. And so starting from NVIDIA, the next type of AI company are these AI platforms and the big Google, Meta companies that are trying to create these AI models like Gemini or Microsoft Copilot or something. So these guys are creating AI models that are powered from these NVIDIA chips to create these chatbot LLMs, large language models, stuff like that with the AI. And then lastly, the last AI type of company are any company that tries to implement AI into their business model. So this can be anything from Tesla and self-driving cars to, I don't know, but there's a lot of companies that are trying to widespread their usage of AI. So recently, NVIDIA had their Q2 earnings report. And so an earnings report basically happens every quarter, so every 3 months. And it reports the company's financial state. So they'll report their earnings per share, revenue, how much money they made, and all these other metrics that you can use to analyze the company, cash flow statements, stuff like that. So recently, NVIDIA's share price fell after their recent earnings report. And this was because of one key metric that spooked a lot of investors. And that was because of missed expectations on data center sales. So the reason why this is kind of an ominous sign is that if data center sales decrease, then that means that like they're valuing each chip less, and that it's getting harder and harder to power more powerful AI models. And so that ties into another point, that this market is heavily concentrated into the Magnificent Seven right now. So the Magnificent Seven, which are companies like Apple, Tesla, Google, Amazon, and Meta, these are like the largest market cap companies in the market. And so what this means is, when the market is really concentrated into these big companies, that if these big companies fall or something goes wrong, like say an earnings report reports like very low earnings, very low revenue, then it can shift the tone of the market and put us into more of a bearish market, because these companies also have their own investments in smaller companies and emerging technology and in their portfolio. So when these companies go down, it signals that they're not able to support their investments of smaller companies, and it'll bring a lot of other companies in the tech sector down too. And lastly, the AI bubble is fragile right now, so you have to stay alert. And this is because, as we stated earlier, data center sales are going down, and NVIDIA's share price fell because of those lower sales of data center and chips. So right now, we can see that we're reaching a point of saturation in the AI market, where it's getting harder to build more powerful models. And if any of these Magnificent Seven companies disappoint investors' earnings and Wall Street's expectations of the trajectory that AI is going right now, then it might cause a crash.